Hey, what's up? How's it? Aloha, welcome to Culturalized. It is me, Makani. This is a space that we like to get together. So if you ever wanted to learn culture, share culture, talk culture, this is a space to do it. For those of you want to learn something, I truly believe that if we learn a little bit about others' cultures, we're going to get along way better. It's like you don't have to like us. Just learn a little bit of us because eventually you will. But that's what we're doing. This is the space that we created. And because we are a cultured show, we always like to start off and create this space for us. So we've got the Kanaka kid behind me. Oh, yeah.
Amalie hua pai kai inu maila ke inu maila kahala o na we I ke kai o na we kahala o puna e ka wahine o kalua na I hira wea.
Mahalo ilono. Kanaka kid, check out his YouTube if you're not watching mine. We are season 5. Thank you so much. If you're listening in, tell all your friends about it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, notification, so you know what's going on with culture in and around you. And if you want to share some culture with us, comment down below or get in touch with us at culturalized.com. Check out our social media pages. I'm excited. I'm humbled. I'm privileged to be sitting in front of, let's give some titles, kumu, educator, cultural practitioner, co-founder of the Ka Mahina Project, and I like this one, lead Mahina facilitator. I love that. Hiʻilani Shibata. How are you?
I'm great.
We have not seen each other in ever. For like it's been a while, yeah? How long have you been on Oʻahu now?
Gosh, I don't want to say.
Because we both, it's at least 20 something, right?
Oh,
no?
over 20 years. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. As we usually do, when we meet people, where are you from? What high school you went?
Well, I graduated from Waiāhole High School in Hilo. Oh. So I'm born and raised Hilo. I've been trying to get back, but
isn't that funny? That's me. I was like, I need to get back to Lanai.
Yeah.
But Hilo, Waiāhole, not to interrupt you, but I all I remember was going to Waiāhole High School. They used to have a wrestling tournament, and when I was at Lahaina Luna, we were so cheap, we had to sleep in the Hilo High School gym. All that rain would come in the side and we'd wake up soaking wet. But okay, Waiāhole High School. Where on Hawaii Island did you grow up? Was it near the school?
So I grew up, my dad had land and we had a house up in Waiāhole, but my mom is actually from Keaukaha. Ooh. So, we go wherever, right? My dad grew up in Pepe'eg Hill. Wow. So, yeah, so I was all over.
That true Hawaii Island. Let me ask you that. Would you prefer people to say Big Island or Hawaii Island?
I actually like Big Island.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See, I think it's, I always have this conversation. Some of my friends from Hawaii Island is like, Hawaii Island. Sorry. Or if I say Big Island. I was like, oh, so you prefer Big Island. I like that. I like it. I always think, well, how can we just call it Main Island? Right? So growing up in those two different eras, what was it like growing up? Do you remember, was it very cultural? Was it very local? Or was it very Hawaiian growing up or very local growing up or a mix of everything?
A mix of everything. Yeah.
What are the things you remember? Because you know how different islands, we grew up different ways, right? Mm-hmm. What was it like growing up on Big Island?
I in reflection, I am so thankful that I grew up in Hilo. And I'm super thankful of the family that, they say you choose the family you come in. Yeah, I said, I would make a good choice. I made a good choice. And I believe that I was definitely raised Hawaiian and Japanese because I'm half-half. Yeah. So I really believe that it was both. And not too much other cultures, actually.
Did you think that's a huge benefit?
Oh, yeah. They're the best cultures. No, I'm just joking.
See, I love the pride is there. I love it. What are some things? Because I always say this. You think Hilo and you think Hawaii Island. And I'm learning that even within the Japanese culture, very different Hawaii Island, then different than Oʻahu, different from Kauai. The Japanese on different islands, there's little things that are a little bit different. Do you notice that when you moved here?
Super different.
Like,
because Japanese, especially from Hilo, I cannot say from Kona because, it's a big island.
Yeah, I was going to say
it's a big island, so different.
What are some of the things you notice about?
Oh, Japanese from Hilo going to scrap if they
I know, right?
No, they're punchy.
I always say that. I said something about Hawaii Island Japanese and Hilo Japanese. I always say the fishermen.
Yep.
Right? The fighters.
Yep. Big trucks.
Compared to everywhere else. If you are joining us, we're going to be getting into, I'm excited because we're going to be talking about Mahina and the moon, but we're talking about Hawaii Island, big island. Hiʻilani Shibata is with us, but I want to get into a little bit more about how you were raised because I love the cultural side of you. So if you're joining us, thanks so much for doing that. This is Culturalized. Hit the notification button, the subscribe button, all the things you need to do, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. It's Culturalized.
Bringing you what matters. Viewers can receive the Star Advertiser Digital Full Access subscription for just $9.95 per month. Go to staradvertiser.com and click on subscribe. Use the code AHAITHING. For all your money needs, Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union is here for you. Visit hificu.com.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to Culturalized. Sitting down with Hiʻilani Shibata, growing up on the Big Island. Of course, Japanese, Native Hawaiian. We're talking about the differences in Japanese culture. And then I also notice in local Japanese culture, right, is very different from Japanese, right?
Oh, definitely.
What I love about Hilo is there's a lot of Japanese that still had their furo and all their all these Japanese things that they brought over. Not very much. I mean, I don't know on Oʻahu, but you guys had a furo at your house?
My grandma had different things. Yeah.
You know, one thing I learned, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, is how to bathe in a furo. Like a lot of people would think you bathe in it, but you're supposed to, clean yourself off before, and then you go in, right? Yeah. Is that how you do it? See,
definitely.
Because I used to think you just sit inside and you just and it's like, no. You clean yourself before you get into the furo. Did your grandma used to make you do that?
No, we never actually got to do it as little kids. But my grandma, she would, I think, do it when she wanted to. But one of the things is that she, all the way until she couldn't bathe herself, she had a tub. You know, the old ones with the feet?
Yeah. No way.
Yeah, and she would bathe herself outside and then go inside and bathe.
So the culture part is still there.
It's still there all the way.
That.
Yeah. And she died when she was 97.
Wow.
So it was like, so I never understood because we always had to bathe in the tub.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you guys was lucky. Lanai was the sink.
Oh.
that metal sink. Or like,
it wouldn't have fit.
Sink. I know. That's what I was like, how do you do that? Did you guys have to do like the whole bondori, bon dance and all that stuff too?
We didn't have to, but bon dance, when I was growing up, I'm a little older, right? So bon dance is where you hook up, yeah? So that's what the action was. So why are you not going to go bon dance? It didn't matter if you're Japanese.
That's such a outer island thing because we thought, bon dance here, people go because it's bon dance.
Yeah.
We go because we like eat andagi and hook up.
Yeah.
Right? Because
shave ice, whatever.
You know, and you're doing the and then you don't know which somebody watching you. That is too funny. Other things that you take into your adult life that came from the Japanese side.
Oh, just hardworking. Yeah, my dad and his culture. I mean, he's just amazing. Japanese man, no talk too much, but you know,
very bushido.
Yeah, but
that's another Hilo Japanese thing.
Oh, really?
That's what I noticed. They hard workers, hard workers. That's what I have this. It's really weird. It's bad, but I have this vision when I think of Hilo Japanese men. I think these short, stocky, like just hands rough, like hard workers, probably played baseball, but just always worked hard. And I was like, man, but so you were lucky enough to grow up in a household and you had Native Hawaiian side.
Oh yeah, my mom.
What kind of things do you remember that you take into your adult life today about that, about culturally?
Well, our matriarch was my grandmother, and she was called Big Grandma. That's why I like Big Island.
Really? Wait, so did you spend most of your time with Grandma?
Both.
Wow.
So I had Big Grandma, who is the Hawaiian one, and I had Small Grandma, who was the Japanese one.
Lucky. Because there's not a lot of people that are lucky enough to be raised by or with their grandparents. Out of the two, I love that. You got Kanaka grandmother, Japanese guy. Who was more rough?
They were pretty equal.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what things growing up in the household do you remember on the Hawaiian side that you guys practiced?
Well, my grandma wasn't until a little bit older, but my grandma, I mean, she had plenty kids all the time. But what I love about my grandma's house was that anybody could come, right? And they can sleep, they can do whatever. She had everybody there, and she really was like Big Grandma for everybody.
I like it.
Even her sister's grandchildren.
Everybody at Pilikia run to Big Grandma's house.
Yeah. If you had any problems, she was the one. So, and then whenever I got to spend time with her, like when I moved to Oʻahu and stuff like that, she decided to, she and my grandfather at that time decided that they would only speak Hawaiian to me.
Whoa.
And then that's when it really got fun, because I realized, oh, that's what they were doing, her and her sisters. When they would hang out, they would talk Hawaiian, but they talk stink about everybody.
Okay, hold that thought. I love that. If you're joining us, this is Culturalized. We're sitting with Hiʻilani Shibata. We're talking about growing up in Hilo with a Native Hawaiian side and her Japanese side. And this is culture. This is where it's happening. I love this. If you're joining us, thanks a lot. It's Culturalized.
Ashley is America's #1 furniture store. We have everything you need for your home. Let the experts at King Windward help you out of your current loan or lease and into a new vehicle. Visit kingwindwardnissan.com.
Hey, welcome back to Culturalized Season 5. Thank you guys so much for liking what we're doing. If you want to share culture with us, no matter what culture it is, whether it's native, whether it's ethnic, whether it's social, I believe the definition of culture is just 10 or more people doing and believing in the same thing. So if you want to share something, you let us know. Sitting down with Hiʻilani Shibata, we're going to get into this latest project, but I'm stoked that you just talked about how when Grandma and Grandpa's like, no, ʻŌlelo Hawaii vale no, right? We're only going to speak in Hawaiian. I ask this question sometimes to people, and some people look at me sideways, but when did you realize you were Hawaiian or realize you're kuleana? It's a weird question, but like it took a while for me. Like, because that's what you grew up, oh, you Hawaiian. But for me, it wasn't when I started dancing hula, and then when my grandmother started teaching me healing things, I'm like, oh, okay, that's why I'm the way I am. For you, was it that time?
No, it was when I was first going to kindergarten.
Wow. Where'd you go to kindergarten?
At Waihona Elementary. And you have to understand that Waihona is synonymous like poor city over here at Oʻahu. Waihona was all the Japanese lived.
That's such a great analogy.
Well, I was on the bowling team, and Pro City and us were always state champs, depending on who was the winner. Yeah,
that's such a great analogy.
So I understood. I understood I was both Japanese and Hawaiian. When I was going to kindergarten, my mom used to tell me on the way to dropping me off at school, "Don't let anybody tell you you're dumb because you're Hawaiian.
Nice.
You're proud to be Hawaiian. You come from a good family." And that is actually when I realized I was Hawaiian.
I like that.
Yeah.
With that said, was grandmas and mom then, were they the kind of parents and makua that would grab you and say, we're going to teach you this, or did you just have to use your kilo skills?
Kilo even before 5 years old.
I like that.
Because it's almost kind of like I knew already. It wasn't like I had to be told. Because my grandma used to do huli opu. And she had this certain thing. It's illegal now because I think it had like gas inside or something. But they used to have this rub, and it's, you know what I'm talking about. But yes. You cannot buy them now.
We were just having this conversation. For those of you that are watching, huli opu, explain that to our friends that are watching.
Well, specifically, she was really with the babies. So if somebody was going
to take... Like keiki.
Yeah, so if somebody was going to take the baby go on the plane, especially, she would lomi the opu and was like hard. She wasn't like... It wasn't like nice, you know what I mean? Like she would lomi him and then she would wrap him, right? But had that smell of that rub. It was very fascinating. But she would make me sit with her. When she was doing it.
That is, I remember when I used to go to Papa Kalua's house on Maui. As soon as you walk into the garage, you knew somebody's getting work done, right? But Opuhuli is so if you're joining us when a baby gets gas or what a colic, sometimes they call it. But I used to watch kūpuna when they used to lomi that like whoa, because they are going at it. And I always tell people like if you've ever burped a baby, right? And like when we do lomi, some people are like, I'm like, you guys ever burp one baby? Like, dude, right? And they're like, no, I don't want to go too hard. It's like if a baby can handle it. So you were privileged enough to sit in that hole. And do you practice it today?
Yeah, so I'm actually part of Kapaulo Nupuha under Keola Chan, and yeah, and you know what's interesting is that I always knew that it would be for my children and my ʻohana, that it wasn't necessarily something I would be doing like as a business. So I'll lomi you if I need to, like if that's my kuya, I will do it. But I'm not gonna go out and go like put up one sign and make that kind. I know.
I thank you for that because I'm like it's how do you do that? But I want to get back to the kilo skills. You'd sit with grandma, and you'd watch her lomi, and you'd watch her work on these people, and you already knew. How old were you? How far back do you remember sitting with her?
Yeah, I was before 5. And
so your kilo skills was like that already.
Yeah, I was always really quiet. So that was just my thing. And but observant is what I think when I reflect on it. And if I talk to my mom, she'll tell me that too, I know. But my grandma would just pull me into stuff and then I just would have to be there. And they never had to scold me, right? Because I just hardly talked. So.
Such the epitome of a haumana. Don't say anything, just sit there. If you're joining us, this is Culturalized. We're sitting with Hiʻilani Shibata. Right now we're talking about kilo skills, which is going to take us right into, don't go too far, because you need kilo skills for this new project that she has. And sometimes I think I have good kilo skills, but not so much. That's why she's here, because we're going to learn about these things right here on Culturalized.
Culturalized, brought to you by Beachside Roofing, the leaders. Elevate your home's exterior to a whole nother level with Windows Hawaii low maintenance, energy efficient select siding. Call 808-671-0808 today. Ridgel Kent Insurance, protecting your legacy.
Hey, what's going on? What's up? How's it? Aloha. Welcome to Culturalized. It is me, Makani. I'm sitting with my good friend Hiʻilani Shibata from the Big Island. Growing up, Japanese household, Native Hawaiian household, talking about your kilo skills. And you were very fortunate because, kawakahiku, in old days, I mean, we were pulled on the side as very young kids. And we were given kuleana. Even if we didn't know what it was, we're like, no, this is what you're going to do. And I like the fact that you said what we were just talking about, how you don't really put it out there, because I never thought in a million years the things I learned growing up from my grandparents was something I would be doing. I mean, I knew, but not to the point like now. I work at Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center, and I'm like, wait, how am I? Now it makes sense, because I remember by the time I got to high school, I was like, what am I going to use this stuff for? And now in my adult life. And I'm glad I had kilo skills, but your kilo skills I think yours is above and beyond, because you need kilo skills for the moon. And that's why one of the reasons why you're here. Explain to our friends who are watching. We hear it all the time. Hawaiian moon phases. We hear the term mahina. Mahina in the moon. Who was it? Who was she? What is that connection to Native Hawaiians?
Actually, I'm going to back up just a little bit.
Yes, please.
Because my grandmother, I didn't really understand, right? Because you're just growing, but then you just take it all in. And as I'm getting older, I'm starting to look like her. So when I see people who are ʻohana that I haven't seen for a long time, or maybe I don't even know they're my ʻohana, but they look at me and they see my grandma. So the reason I'm bringing this in is because my grandma was the person, if they were ma'i, like if they had some kind of affliction, spiritual, emotional, physical, and they couldn't find anybody, even because I probably related, but one of her really good friends was Papa Awaya. So even going to him sometimes, if they couldn't like get help, then they went to my grandma. Wow. So this is part of why Ka Mahina Project was born.
Ooh, okay.
But it also comes in, as I reflect and as I'm doing this project, it really comes back to all the things in my life that I have been placed in. And I feel very fortunate. And I love the fact that I can just keep doing my kuleana and that it keeps getting revealed. You know, it just grows and grows. And that's what Ka Mahina Project is, part of my kuleana.
I love not to interrupt, but the fact that you said it continues to grow, because a part of like, I wanted to create this program because, you know, sometimes with local people, we get that local boy syndrome. Oh, nah, I don't like shame. I don't like learn. Or we get to a point where, I older it. I don't like learn. I cannot learn. But like you said, we continue to grow. It's revealing. Our kuleana is always revealed daily. So thank you for answering that question, because the question I was going to ask was, how did Ka Mahina Project come about? Was it like a moi ʻohana? But now you just explained it. When did you just like, this is what I'm going to do?
So I worked at the Bishop Museum for 14 years.
Wow.
And as part of that, I got to do all kinds of stuff because when I was Native Hawaiian and I was female, and they had plenty money back then, yeah. I was there at the right time. I was there at the right time, and they could just send us to go do stuff. And so one of the things was I got to play Hina Hanai ka Mālama, the goddess that is in the mahina, in the moon, in a play that we traveled and worked with Native American, Alaska Native artists, sharing our moon stories. I didn't realize that was part of my kuleana once I did that. But I do know that when I went to seek guidance from people who encompass that essence of Hina, that actually one of them, and I don't know if she remember, but I went to Hina at the time, and I asked her, I said, so what is it like to be, or how can you help me like really encompass Hina Hanai ka Mālama when I'm on the stage? You know, it wasn't like I was in a big production, but it was important to me as a Hawaiian to do something mai ka'i, right? And she said, once you become Hina, you will always be Hina.
Well, that was deep. If you're joining us, thank you so much for joining us on Culturalized. This is YouTube. Hiʻilani Shibata. Can we talk more? Can I keep you for a little while?
Yes, of course.
We're going to talk more on the extended version. Comment down below anything you want to learn and questions about Mahina and the moon. We're doing it right now, right here on Culturalized. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to Culturalized. It is me, Makani. Thanks for joining us on the extended version, sitting down with Hiʻilani Shibata, talking about her latest project, the Ka Mahina Project. But say it again, what you just said prior. Once you become Hina, say that again.
You will always be Hina.
And it started, you're playing, you got picked to play a role.
Yes.
In a play.
Yes.
And that just kind of manifested into now you are even off stage. Is kuleana wise, is that heavy? Not kaumaha, but heavy, meaning this is kuleana. I am now Hina. I have to portray Hina. Everything I do has to be Hina. Is that how you see it now?
No, not at all.
Wow.
I actually feel very Hina-led.
You see, that's why I read Hina-led. Not Hina, but Hina-led. You see? Explain that Hina-led to me.
Well, because she is part of things that I do. She is part of the kuleana. It's not all my kuleana, but it's part of the kuleana that I have. She leads us. My co-founder and I... my co-founder is Talia Cardenas, and she lives on Molokai Nuia.
No. What a perfect place to live.
But Hina leads us. And I all I can tell you is she will make things happen. She will put people in front of us that you would never even have tried to, if you tried to plan it, it could not have done. Like, and we're like, mahalo. We always just go mahalo hina, and then we just go.
I like, because I'm on like this personal quest to understand Mahina and the moon more and more. How many moon phases? Because people hear it all the time, right? People hear it all the time. Some people are ma'a to it, some people are not. How many Hawaiian moon phases are there?
So there's 30 phases with names, right? With inoa.
Okay. And so there's others without?
No, I'm just saying.
In between, 30 with, wow.
Because now, when you look science-wise,
right.
I don't like to say science because that's that doesn't make sense to us. That's all made up.
I was going to say, because my tutor said, at the end of the day, the scientists going to come back to the native and go, explain that to us.
Yeah. So the phases don't match up to our Gregorian calendar, right? The sun calendar.
Okay.
And so they're constantly moving, right? So it's constantly changing, which is one of the lessons we understand from Mahina. We're constantly moving. There is no stagnant part of Mahina. There is no stagnant part of cycles. There is no stagnant part of us. And so the 30 names is you might look up and then 2 hours later look up and go, oh, it changed already. But that is life.
That just blew my mind because so now the change is one thing, but also when you say she guides us, because I also have a little bit of understanding that, I mean, even mahi'ai, that we use it for farming. What other things does she lead us? Aspects of Namea Hawaii, like farmers.
Right. So mauka, right? Farmers, even with the stars, right? There's that whole healing, actually. Not necessarily for administering the healing when someone needs it, but you utilize the illumination to gather, energize the vai, right? The water to heal with. You also, the phase will tell you, oh, this is a better time to appropriately gather. It is also with fishing, of course, right? So makai. So actually, in our what has been physically left for us, right, in writings and stuff, you get all the fishing, you get all the farming, you even get birth omens, ouli, that are family specific though,
right, that
are with moon phases, and they're pretty hilarious, pretty cool. So to me, what it means though is that the Mahina, just like the Hoku, just like the La, just like all of these Akua, right, that are all around us all the time, they were in every part of our life. Yeah. See, it's for somebody in every part of our life, and of course, we live in modern day, and we go about our daily life. Do you see a huge difference, even in people that you share with and you teach, if they start to be Hina led? Do you see a change? Completely. And so one of the things is with Ka Mahina Project, and I'm gonna say this, I love the fact that there are so many Mahina based companies and education people and all that, and I and Talia, we are both very supportive of all.
I like that.
Yeah. So we are not trying to be the one all at all, because that is not Hina.
Yeah.
That is not Hina. Why we have created this company is because when we started to work with women coming out of incarceration, we realized that, wow, the amount of emotional, mental, spiritual guidance and support, just learning about Hina, learning about ku, learning about the mo'olelos, learning about the moon phases and how, if it's this phase, it's okay, you can just cruise today, just having something tell you it's okay, giving you permission to be cool when it's the cool moons. It's just, it's a whole nother thing, and we're still discovering what that means.
Which that is, I like that because, my question is this: we know we associate Mahina, with Mahine, right? For a kane, for a man, do we can we be Hina led?
Oh, definitely. Okay. Because on a Wahine side, you gotta also be ku led. You have to have both, because if you don't, then you lopsided.
Because you always hear that term. It's sometimes a term, hey, more Hina, less cool, right? when somebody's all mad or somebody's angry. So how I don't even know if this would be a fair word. How difficult would it be? I mean, did Hawaiians, Kawakahiko, was their daily life 100% Hina led, or was that just certain people?
I think you find your way.
Okay.
Because some people are kanaloa, some people are definitely pele, right? Because I have my pele moments. I'm from Big Island. Pele, we all pele women from Big Island. That's why you gotta be careful you date somebody from Big Island.
I like that because so in your opinion, pele women of Hawaii Island, Molokai Hina women,
totally different.
But just as powerful.
Oh, they're all powerful, right? Because I think Haumea women are more Oʻahu. Like, I started to think about these things. That's just me in my head, right? But it's just like, it's kind of neat, you know? Like,
Do you think Ka Mahina Project, and we're talking about how we're continuing to, as Native Hawaiians, we're continuing to move forward. Do you think in your Manao and Ike, is there still more that Hina is like, you know, we look to the past for Ike. Did it just stop, or is there revealing more? There's going to be new things we're going to learn about Hina, new things we're going to learn about moon phases.
Oh my gosh, it's all the time. Okay, we're constantly learning. She's constantly revealing. To me, when you start being on these paths, right, that we go down and everything, it's really a surrender. You have to surrender to it, because once you surrender, then, oh man, the ride is even more fun than you can imagine.
Because I think, you know, I always think, you know, we're always looking to the past, which we should do to get our Ike and our lessons. But I always think, when did it stop? Like, maybe we discovered new phases of the moon. Maybe we discovered new things. Do you think that's possible?
Well, there's this whole thing that I've been on right now where maybe the time before Kamehameha was the time we should concentrate on, and not the time of the kingdom. Because the time before Kamehameha had a little bit more interesting, a little bit more kind of what Hawaiians are like.
Thank you for that, because I always tell people when you get into conversations, I always say, where does your historical clock start? Right? Just the other day, we were talking about, somebody called me about mea'ai practices. I was like, well, pre-Kamehameha or post-contact, or, you know what I mean? It's like, I said, I need to know, right? I like that. So you prefer pre-contact. Not pre-Kamehameha.
Yeah, there was a time before Kamehameha.
I know, see, I truly believe that concept of that modern concept of utopia, pre-Kamehameha, I think we were close to, because we just knew. We knew our kuleana. We knew how to act. We knew what to do. But at the same time, you know, we would still war against each other, right?
Yeah, and nothing against Kamehameha. I mean, of course, we're all related to him some way. And nothing against that. It's just how the life was, right? And his prophecy happened because it needed to happen in history. But when we look at before Kamehameha, we really look at how they utilized everything around them, right? Which included every akua, every deity, every natural form. And they had a relationship to it that I believe today we are reconnecting to.
If somebody wanted to get a little bit deeper into the Ka Mahina, or just Mahina in general, learning moon phases, besides and I tell Lona all the time, you need to practice Halupo with me. I was going to say, you're going to have to teach me that. But they can come, Ka Mahina Project, what is the website?
KaMahinaProject.com.
And you guys everything surrounding Hina. Hina, is it fair to say the goal is to get us to be Hina led? So
we don't try and reduplicate what is already out there.
Ooh.
Because I like support somebody else's.
Right.
Because I want to support. So we're going to create something if it's needed and it's not available. But if it's available, I'm going to contact that person and say, can we collaborate? Because I don't like redoing. That doesn't make sense.
I like that.
So one of the biggest things that for us being Mahina-led or Hina-led is that we do and it's completely manuahi. This is part of our kuleana, is we do a daily text. And it comes to your phone if you want to. You can sign up. And it's a video, audio, text, and it tells you o ole ku kolu ka mahina, and then it'll tell you a little bit something about it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's about planting, sometimes it's about your emotions, sometimes it's about spirituality, sometimes it relates to maybe something that's happening right now. So it's one of the things that really, I think, for our project helps people align, and there are many people who all over. Yeah, right now we're at 3,000 subscribers in the text message.
So how I go to the website and get it?
Go to the website and you can just do it real quick. It's really
totally
simple.
need that. I hate, because it's sometimes me and Lola would look up. Lola, what moon is that? I don't know, Papa. What it? We're trying to look, and I was like, and I have it's even worse because when it comes to that, my kilo skills are terrible. Because even I'll open my right, like your moon phases, and I'm I'm terrible. So I'm gonna do that. So if you guys want, go to the website kamahinaproject.com. Hiʻilani, mahalo for sharing. I could keep you here forever. I know you're busy, but can you come back one day and just continue to share with us? Because every time I think of you, there's so many aspects of Naʻauao Hawaii with you that I just want to jump into and share with our friends. So mahalo for making time today. KaMahinaProject.com. This is Culturalized. If you want to comment down below, you got questions about the Ka Mahina Project, questions about Hina and the moon and all the things we talked about, do that right now. Thanks a lot for joining us. This is Culturalized.